it's important to set like really like high goals for yourself, and like I think Todd is like really shooting for me to try to do that, which is really cool. Um, and I'm gonna need a lot of like his own input because the 50 free is all about the minor changes. It's like very small drops, and I think like someone's just gonna have to like I don't know. I don't know what it's
You
gonna
broke
take.
the back. You broke 21 a few times.
Welcome to Social Kick. I'm Brian Lundquist. We got the full crew: Dr. John Mullen, Luke Paddington, and from the East Coast, Charlottesville, Virginia, Gretchen Walsh. What's up, Gretchen?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Good to see you. Okay, so intro rapid fire. We polled the audience. If you want to send us questions at Social Kick Swim on Instagram, we got a few from the audience here for you. What is your currently most streamed artist or music on Spotify or wherever you stream music?
Oh gosh. Well, Spotify all the way. But I think recently it's been the new Daisy Jones soundtrack. I don't know if you guys watched that show, but I've been
I do
listening to
not.
that, and Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Wallen.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of our rendezvous in Palm Springs, you got Stagecoach coming up. I wish he was playing that. I don't think he is, but the country lineup was pretty fire. Okay.
Coachella?
Oh, well, there's Coachella's going on right now, but then they have the country version, Stagecoach, that's right after it. And
Nice.
And that's this weekend. So I was just looking at tickets. Would love to go, but don't think it's gonna happen. Okay. Who's your favorite character in Mario Kart?
Toad
all the way. All right, last one. What's your go-to order at Bodo's?
Oh gosh, I don't really see the hype around Bodo's. But I mean, I'm kind of like, I just like any kind of bagel with strawberry cream cheese. I don't know if that's like weird, but that's what I like.
For anyone who doesn't know Bodo's, they are advertised on their website as the best cheap date in Seaville. So
Yeah.
if you need a date spot with average food, it sounds like from Gretchen's recommendation.
Some people love it, some people don't see the hype.
Hey, look, I understand. Some places are just overhyped. That's how I feel about In-N-Out. I don't get all the fire around In-N-Out. It just doesn't.
That's good.
I agree with you.
Come on now.
I don't know, Gretchen.
Good.
Thoughts on In-N-Out?
It's kind of like Shake Shack, though. So,
but it's much less expensive than Shake Shack. I think that's the big difference.
That's true.
So,
strangely enough,
I don't know. I definitely get it when I'm around. So.
Okay. All right. What's your go-to order then at In-N-Out? What are you gonna get?
I don't get the animal fries. I feel like that's what most people are like dying to get. I just get the I don't really know the names. I've only been twice, so I just get like, do they have like double cheeseburgers? I think that's what I get.
Yeah, what do you got to order? The double? Is that the way you order it? I don't know. I
Maybe.
did have my first Shake Shack experience with Luke actually recently in Boston. So
Yeah.
that was
Good.
I was impressed. I didn't really understand what all the hype was about, but I ran the Boston Marathon. They gave me a free burger, so I can't complain about that.
So he ran a marathon. He fueled on burgers at Shake Shack with his whole family from Georgia who never been to Shake Shack before. So I'm like, you never been to Shake Shack? Like, yeah, we're Chick-fil-A people, man. What's going on? So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. While we're on the post-meet hype, what's like a celebration meal for you? What do you withhold while you're on like training diet, and then you splurge and it's like no rules? Let's just get after it.
She just said she goes on a date to Bodo's. Apparently, that's the place to go. Come on,
cheat date. A really cheap date
at 8 a.m.
Yeah. I honestly like don't cut anything out of my diet ever. Like, I kind of eat whatever I want, but because there is no Panda Express in Charlottesville, whenever I'm not in Charlottesville, I will get Panda Express.
Interesting. Okay. Panda
What's
Express.
the order?
Double orange chicken with fried rice.
Brian, what did Bruno tell us? There's no cheat days, man. You do no cheat days. That's what Bruno Fratis told us.
Yeah, we asked Bruno Fratis that question. He goes, "Let me ask you a question. Do you have a cheat day in your marriage?" Like, Well, I guess not. Why would you have a cheat day in your training diet? Like, okay, touche.
Yeah.
Gretchen, what's going on lately? Saw you popped a 24 something and 50 free recently. What's how's the switch to the long pool been?
Yeah, it's been good. I'd say so. We like took a week off after NCs, which was very much needed. And then we kind of started getting slowly back into the swing of things. I did a lot of like aerobic training just to like get used to the long course and like build up like an aerobic base. And then we had the time trials. So like, I mean, it was fine, but I feel like I could have also done without it. But you know, I've over the years I've had to just kind of like get used to like that first meet and use it as a chance to practice my races because I haven't swam a long course meet since August and like late July. So I feel like I just tried to like use it as a chance to like be like, oh, this is how this works. Like now I remember now. But yeah, we're doing like another time trial in Richmond, I think like the 13th and the 14th of May. So I'm gonna swim like the same kind of events there and hopefully slowly like see a progression. And yeah, I've been making a lot of modifications recently, which seems kind of like late to start doing that, but Todd has had a lot of ideas on how to like make me a better long course swimmer without all those underwaters. So I'm trying to implement all that right now.
A lot of people might hear that and go, okay, what can really be the difference between short course and long course swimming besides the underwaters? But like it can change a lot, as you know, especially as a freestyler. Well, it has nothing to do with freestyle. There's like stroke length can change and the race strategy can change. So like what are some of the things that when you say like, oh, okay, this is what this feels like, what do you mean by that?
Well, I guess when I say that, it's just they're totally different races for me. Like when I compare like the 50 free short course versus the 50 free long course, like you're talking about like just a straight like sprint, like there is no turning around, you know? And like it definitely takes it doesn't even take more strategy. It's just like there's really like you just gotta go, you know, there's nothing you have to think about. You only have to anticipate the wall coming. And I think like for me the most different race is definitely the 100 free because I like find the 100 free long course to be more similar to like the 200 free short course. I think it's like by far the most painful race I do like ever, and that's kind of why for a while I just hated it. But I've definitely learned to start loving it again, and like something that I've had to be working on with that race is like my stroke efficiency because like I really rely on my underwater short course, but like long course I need to rely on my stroke. And I've realized that, you know, I swim straight arm a lot. And apparently I'm like the only one that does that. And it's not really like you can't really maintain that for a whole 100 free long course. So I'm trying to start doing some bent arm freestyle and it's actually going really well. So I'm excited.
Interesting evolution. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Luke.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, what mental cues do you put in place in the long course? So obviously in short course, you know, you're going into the wall in the 50, like I'm going to the wall, let's jam off this wall and let's nail this on the water as I come home. Or your 100 free, let's work this third 25 because I'm about to come in and bring it home. So you have mental cues, short course yards. What mental cues are you doing at different points in a race in the 50 and or the 100? Like, are you at the halfway of the 50? I'm like, here we go, let's go straight on. Do you have cues in your head? Like, all right, Gretchen, let's do this.
Yeah, I think I use like the 15-meter mark the most. At least on the 50 free, like that's my cue to like turn it up, you know, like I need to accelerate into the wall. And honestly, the same with the 100 free. With that, I think like definitely the 15-meter mark going into the wall, like something that I need to work on is like accelerating into my turn because like I need to use that to get off the wall and like kick to 15 meters underwater. So like trying to make the most out of that. And then also, yeah, the last like 37 and a half of the 100 free, it's more just like I just gotta go. Like I gotta get to the wall. Yeah, somehow, some way. When I do get to the 15, I'm like, oh my god, it's almost done. But yeah, I think that whole last 50 is just like one very difficult build. Very difficult. I wouldn't even consider it a build. It's more of a die, but you know, I'm trying harder as I go.
It's a hold on, right? Gotta hold on.
Yeah.
Well, back to your point about working on the bent arm freestyle. Have you and maybe Coach Todd? I'm not sure if Ono has been behind this or kind of putting his thoughts on it as well. Have you figured out how you're going to use that? And perhaps I'm assuming it's a 100 race. Is it during the last 5 meters, 10 meters, kind of like where almost the opposite of like what Nathan Adrian would do, or kind of put his head down and go straight arm at the end? Or how do you see yourself envisioning the bent arm stroke?
I think the bent arm is like more focused towards, I would say, the beginning, I guess, like Nathan, because it's lighter on your shoulders. It doesn't cause as much strain, and I struggle with, like, as a sprinter, it's like it's really hard to finish 100 free sometimes because that's a long sprint, and anything that will kind of like help conserve energy but like not slow me down, I'm looking for like all those kinds of little tricks. So I'm gonna at least try it out for, I guess, the whole thing. But yeah, when I start putting my head down, I like to go straight arms. So like the last like 8 strokes at the wall will probably be straight arm.
Speaking of like race tactics, and I'm curious what you think about this new rule with the backstroke finish. Do you think that this whole idea is just I keep seeing these Instagram videos of people testing out going underwater with 5 meters to go at the flags just because they can. Like, have you seen anybody try that? Have you tried it? Do you think anyone's actually going to try to do that? Because it looks so slow.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've definitely heard of it, and someone like explained to me how, because I was like, what do you mean? Like, why would you go back underwater? Personally, I don't think I'm gonna do that because by then I'm like gasping for air. I don't think I need to go back under after spending so long under the water. But I would be very curious to see if people try it, because I can't imagine like going back down would be beneficial. I don't know.
I can't see that it would. It is strange for me to hear somebody who's a 48 to 100 short course backstroker and with 15 meters solid off of every wall say that you might not be able to go back underwater. But I think out of anybody who could do it, you could do it. Maybe that's where the nose clip really helps too. Actually, I know you don't race with a nose clip, do you?
I don't know, but that would help.
That would help. No, I think it's weird, but I do think they should really call it a rest rule, just like Lochte got a rule. I feel like Justin we need to cement his name into this rule.
Does he do this?
No, but I think that this came about because of the overturned DQ when he won a world title, but he got DQ'd, right. And then they came back because of his whole body was allegedly submerged, and then I guess it got successfully appealed that it wasn't submerged, and they're like, let's just get rid of this whole thing. This is stupid. Like, let's make a rule so that this isn't a problem in the future. So
I feel like if it's, because I'm sure he wasn't actually trying to like be totally underwater. I feel like obviously he was still going really fast, and that's totally fine. But I can't really see someone like going down at the flags and spending that long. I don't know. I guess it depends on how tall you are as well.
You're pretty tall.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Let's jump into the underwaters. They're not bad. They're okay. How do you guys kick off the wall sideways and then transition on your back for backstroke? If so, how many kicks do you do on your side? What are you working on? What are your cues for your underwaters? All right, push my chest and make sure my up kick is good. Like, what are your cues and what's your technique? Are you a side for 6 and then rotate and pop up? What's going on there in backstroke?
Yeah, in backstroke, I'm like all on my back. I think that's where I am fastest. I'm recently Todd has been like, oh, you're faster on your side or something. I don't even know. But I think like I'm most comfortable on my back. So I do like all 12 kicks on my back. And like I definitely train to do 12 kicks underwater. Even though off the start I can't do that many or else I'll get DQ'd. But my cues are, I don't really have cues. I definitely like count them out in my head every single wall. Like I'm constantly counting throughout practice, like strokes, kicks, everything. But I would say that like, especially this year, we have been working on, like you said, the up kick, like utilizing both directions of your kick. Because yeah, I think that like, not that I didn't do that before, but if you like take advantage of the whole thing, I think that's helped me a lot because my kicks have definitely gotten like a lot more powerful since like or over the last couple years. So yeah,
totally.
You mentioned the start, and that's one thing in swimming where we're like, so I think spectators, when we have such great views of the 15-meter mark, we're like, that person went past 15 meters. This person's going too far. And every big competition now, especially in the 50 back, we're seeing people that are really pushing the limit and often look past it. Do you think there should be any changes with, officiating or like, I don't know, like the old school, the rope falls on people if they go past 15 meters or things like that?
I don't. Maybe nothing like that, but
get the yank out. Come on.
People do need to just kind of like at least spectators need to like kind of leave it to the officials. I feel like because a lot of people like read comments and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, she totally should have been disqualified." But it's like, well, if you like actually read like the rules, it's like the back of your head, like it needs to be up or something. It's very specific, but I think like it's important that people are like kind of pushing this because it would be so cool to do like a 50 underwater race. I feel like that could be a really interesting. I would be interested in doing that.
I think you would be.
Yeah, I think I would do well.
What would you go? What would you go?
What?
What would you go? You think? Yeah,
like
50 underwater. Short course.
Both. I wanted a both.
Both. You want to both?
I have to like figure out the turn a little bit. I guess I could just come up.
Wait, hold on. Is this from Luke from a backstroke start or from a block start?
All right, let's just go to fastest.
Running dive.
What's the fastest 50 you can go? And would it be all underwater? John and Brian, do you think she breaks 20 going a freestyle start all underwater? Would she break 20?
No.
Okay.
Not today.
Not yet. I'd have to practice it because
not yet.
All underwater.
Yeah, that turn is an interesting point.
Yeah.
No, you're a good kicker, but I'm not giving you 19 just yet.
Yeah. I don't know.
See?
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm with you. I do think we should do this.
It would be faster than my 50 free though. I do think that.
Yeah. I do think that's a good I was just thinking about this the other day because, first of all, I'm glad you said it because it sounds like the comments from you at NCAAs were on your radar at least because I had more than one person texting me during the meet going, is she going past? And it's like, I don't know. I can't see. And who can? Like, you can't tell. And it's close. If it's close, then like, what,
Everyone's close. Right.
I mean, they have a camera right there, but still it's hard to say like where the actual break of the surface happens, right? Because like we all love those sick photos of somebody like right through the breakout and the water's still on your head. Like everybody loves looking at those, but when is it actually broken and when is it not? I don't know. So but there were a lot of people who commented to us during NCs about like the underwater, how the sport has just evolved into all underwater. And that's certainly, I think we've reached a new era of underwater swimming where it's so important in all the events and not just like backstroke and fly, where it's like traditionally you see the most underwater stuff. I mean, you had like Leon at the men's meet going at least 12 and a half off every wall in a 4 IM, you know, and like your whole team and you guys are going 15 off each wall in a 50 free. And it's like, you know, you're just looking for the fastest way to move. But I actually wondered if it'd be better if you had like a 12 and a half limit, except for the start. Like, so you get 15 for the start, but you get 12 and a half off of each other wall and there'd be more swimming involved.
He's like, no.
I feel like I would like it.
Detrimental to my
detrimental to you, I know. Yeah, but
I would not vote for that to pass.
That's all we have long course for.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, so go ahead, Luke.
No. I was just saying it's about time they brought some technology into swimming. You know, I can't stand that the NFL use chains to measure where the ball is and yardage. Why can't we put sensors on a ball? Why can't we put sensors on a cap that can definitely tell at what point the surface got broken? Couldn't you get sensors in there? Bring some RFIDs in there.
I think we're gonna embed a chip in your head.
No, it's in a cap. That's all. There we go. All right, move on.
But then you would need sensors for like a lot of different things because there's people get DQ'd for like all kinds
hand
of stuff.
Sensors for turns.
Hands, yeah, I was about to say that. Flinch. I mean, that's like more obvious, but still,
Flinch,
like people like will get that overturned.
Okay, so as a backstroker, you'll appreciate this, especially if you ever swim outside. Can we at least get some consistency, even on windy days, with where the dang backstroke flags are?
Yeah,
it's so annoying to get.
It's not good.
Man, you swim in a pool where you know the wind's blowing, or you know, maybe it's just like a rec league pool or something where they don't have any accuracy and the flags are way off. And everybody's had that moment where you go to do a turn and you're like, oh, you almost eat the wall.
Yeah. No, I feel like I've been swimming so long that like if the flags are even like an inch off, I will notice it and I will say something. Like inside the AFC, or we swim at the AFC. But every time I swim outside, like if I have to like prepare myself before the race and say like, okay, which way is the wind blowing? How, like, am I gonna have to take another stroke? Am I gonna have to take off a stroke? It's all in the moment, but I definitely have to think about that because you never know.
Yeah, a lot of things to mentally plan for sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Again,
so
flag technology needs to change as well, don't you think? Don't you think there must be a better way than flag technology?
Flag tech?
Yeah. What do you want to have, Luke?
I don't know, but it's the same plastic stuff that you have at Independence Day parades. It feels like surely there's something different, or maybe it's cool. But
I guess it could be like a laser or something that doesn't have any impact by wind or wouldn't move at all.
I don't know.
Obviously, laser outside you wouldn't be able to see well, but something that is not affected by these things we're talking about.
Exactly.
I do think the point about infusion of technology into the sport, especially to police it, would be a lot better. I mean, I think like minimally having underwater cameras was in addition, but I don't know. It just seems like I haven't been close to it, but it seems like the protest sort of process is strange. Like you can get DQ'd and then it seems like people get DQ'd, they get overturned. The margin for error, I mean, who can actually judge if you're standing at the turn end and watching as an official what's happening underwater in the lane? It's so deep. Like that's the worst vantage point to be able to have a clue what's happening underwater. And yet those people are tasked with having to make these calls. It's like, let's just get rid of the officials on deck and make it all on camera. I feel like that would be better.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard because a lot of officials like aren't very young. Like they're not at their like peak, you know, sensory detection.
Don't offend Luke here, all right? He's getting up there too.
But like, you know, like you could definitely overturn something. If you're like, wait, no, this is what I see. I don't know. It would
I
be
thought-
interesting to add more technology into it, but I think the flags should stay the flags.
Okay, get it done. But I would push for different cameras. So your reel that we put up of your 100 backstroke has almost 500,000 views already, and it's your 100 backstroke with some cool music, what have you. But it's because a lot of people are like, "That's not swimming. It's underwater. We can't see what's going on." I'm like, "Well, let's evolve the sport so that we can have more cameras underwater to see how exciting the underwater is." And like at NCs, have a stream of what it looks like, and let's have more cameras. Don't you think it'd be nice to have more cameras seeing what's going on in the water? If that's real.
No, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I love watching like the underwater part of swimming. I feel like that's one of the coolest like vantage points when I'm watching like the Olympics or something. Because sometimes when people film, like you can't even actually see what's going on. Like
Right.
either they'll like zoom in on one person, or the angle will be like during the 50 free, everyone just side by side next to each other, like from the pool deck. I'm like, can't even see what's going on.
No.
But yeah, I definitely think that part could evolve. And yeah, I think at least the people who are criticizing the underwater part of swimming, they would appreciate to see that
Agreed.
there is being work done under the water too.
It is swimming.
I like
Yeah.
this idea. If you had a chip in the cap, how you could track that during the race, though. So, like, if you have a big screen up where you're showing the live feed of underwater or multiple camera angles, and at the same time, you can track based on maybe head position. Not that that's necessarily like if you're racing Maggie in a 50 free, obviously you two have very different builds, so it's not just on where your
Yeah.
head is, but like, I think that would be cool though if you could have some sort of like marker indicator and track it as the fans, like who's in the lead and how much are they in the lead during the race and who's
Right.
closing. And yeah,
I
Well,
still
know
had that
with
for a
the
little.
Olympics
I
and
still had
Worlds,
it.
they have like the world record line,
Mhm.
and then they also like have like your meters per second, like kind of trailing you.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, right.
I would
Now we're
think that's kind
talking.
of interesting.
I think it's kind of interesting, except for nobody ever tracks meters per second. Like, when in your training are you like, okay, we're really got to dial in this 100 speed at X meters per second?
Yeah, like no.
I would have no idea. Okay, this one's a bit of a right turn, but left turn. Which one is it? I don't know. But this just happened in triathlon. I wanted to ask about it in swimming because the big news with this this guy who got busted for taking EPO in triathlon, and like EPO is what was rampant in cycling, and in the Lance Armstrong era, and
Okay.
and like it's pretty uncommon in that sport to get busted for drugs, but like it was an interesting reminder for me because for the most part, I differ from my runner friends or friends who have been in the sport of cycling where like they see a great performance and they're all they kind of immediately go to questioning whether or not that was sort of drug influenced, And like I was just thinking about this before talking to you, going, well, like we see a performance like yours at NCAAs, and like there's no thought in my mind that's even close to, what drugs is she on, and I'm thankful for that, but I'm curious, as someone like at the elite level of swimming, do you think that swimming has a doping problem? Like, does that ever cross your mind?
No, I mean, at least like not in America. Like the people I know, I feel like we just like we're all in the drug testing pool. Like if you were doing drugs, you would get caught. Like there's really no like getting around that. I think USADA does a really good job at making sure we're all like very like clean in the sport. I don't really know how it works on like the world stage. I guess FINA does their own drug testing. But I mean, only when it's like a crazy, like out of this world swim am I like, wonder if they're doing drugs. I don't know. But it's more of like a joke. Like I hope they're not, because like that would just be, I don't know, it puts like a bad name to the sport and just like yeah.
I mean, it's
everything.
hard not to think that. Like, I mean, the elephant in the room is you just had, this girl go 217 and a 2 breast, and like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's a big swim. And as a fan of swimming, I would love to be able to look at that kind of performance and just go like we have everybody else, like study what they do, what it like stroke length and rate and her meters per second. How many meters per second is she averaging? Yeah, but I have to, I mean, admit, I might look at that and go, well, I don't know about like the history of your country, and that's a big jump, and so maybe, I don't know, it does call it into question to a degree. And actually, to that point, I mean, as Americans, I think we're a little bit jaded too, because Phelps in his era was so dominant, but like outside of the US, I don't think you ever heard it in the country, but outside of the US, then I would get questions from international people who would go like, what do you think he's on? Or like, he's doping for sure, right? And it's like, whoa, what an interesting perspective. Like, I don't think so. That. I don't know. I have no idea.
Because of Lance Armstrong. It was right after Lance. Lance was always able to finish his races really strong. Lance, on that climb in the Tour de France, Lance would just go past everybody. And Michael did that kind of stuff, the same kind of characteristics. So there was the Lance messed it up, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, Gretchen, to hear like your take on, not your take, like what's it like now? What as someone on the national team and like getting tested at NCs and then like whereabouts forms, like what can you just like explain for us what the current state of the whereabouts forms and what the testing protocol is like, especially because you've kind of just started to get into that in the last few years. What's it like now?
I'd say like it's not very advanced. Like the technology we use, I would honestly rather just have someone track me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But then you have to wear your cap all the time with the chip in it.
Yeah. I don't know. Putting in the whereabouts though, it's like if you do miss a test, you're just like, like darn. That's always tough because you just like blame yourself, and it is your fault technically, but like you didn't know. But I would say like for me, I haven't had like any like horrible experience drug testing. The first time I was drug tested, it was like very bad because I had no idea what I was doing. Like I was 15 years old.
Oh wow, that's so young.
Yeah, and that was before I was in a testing pool. That was like just out of me because I got last in the A final, and it's so random. So, and I was like, I literally don't need to be here.
Okay, I have to share. We just before you got on, I was sharing with these guys. We talk about drug testing. The same exact thing happened to me. Because normally for people listening, a lot of times what they do, and I was curious, Gretchen, to hear if this is still the case, but usually they test the winner and then they pick one other random from the A final to test. And that happened to me once at US Nationals where I got 8th in the final. I had a garbage final swim. And then the guy comes up to me and I'm like, what do you want? It's like, oh, you got selected for drug testing. I'm like, I just got 8th. I had a shit swim. And thanks for kicking me while I'm down.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I mean, in the moment, like I was so young, and this was my first time making a team. I think this was going into junior Pan Packs. So I was like over the moon, and that night just got ruined. But yeah, I'd say like putting in your whereabouts is like it's almost like an ancient app. I swear, it's very hard to do. So I think a lot of us would agree that we would just like to be tracked. But obviously, like I don't really know like the security issues on that.
Yeah.
But I honestly like don't get it. It is so random. Like you never know when they're gonna show up. So I kind of just like put in when I'm gonna be at practice and like 1 hour that I'm gonna be at home every day, and I kind of just like hope for the best because I can't put in every single address of every single place I'm going to be every single day. Like it's just too much. And there is like a 60-minute window that like they either will or will not come to you during. So I don't know. I give them a very like rough draft of where I'm gonna be. So yeah, but I do think that like everything that I'm doing, even if it might be like tedious or whatever, it is like for the betterment of the sport, and just
Yeah.
like who we are as like a nation. I would rather do this than have any kind of person say like be questioning if we were all like on drugs or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, enough people think you're going past 15. Shoot.
Exactly. I can't have any more criticism.
Yeah. So, what is the most embarrassing activity you could be caught doing when a drug tester shows up if they just tracked you instead of just doing the 60-minute window thing?
I don't know. I
Is
mean,
it recording
there's
recording a
definitely been some
TikTok
funny
video?
stories I've heard. Like, well, some people literally get tested while they're on vacation. Like, this person had to go to they were on a yacht and they had to the person had to come out to the yacht. That's not like, I don't know who this actually happened to. It's just like a story that it's fun talking to the drug testers sometimes, like hearing their memories. One time I was like watching Outer Banks and my tester joined me for like 45 minutes and we just watched Outer Banks while I drank a lot of water. I think there's a lot of embarrassing things that could be happening, like you could do anything and they'll interrupt you. So yeah.
What happened to you, Brian? I walked in my kitchen at 6 a.m. in my underwear, and I was like, there are 2 old people outside my window knocking on the glass. Like, what's going on? What are you doing here?
All right, look, whatever. So this might be TMI, but all right, I'll tell this story publicly. Fuck it. So I had a drug tester show up once, and sometimes you have the same drug tester who comes a lot, so you get to know who they are. And
Right.
but there was a drug tester who showed up and he had sort of an apprentice, and it was maybe his niece or something. And so there was like a young girl with him, and she was helping paperwork and do all that stuff. And if people don't know how drug testing works, it's not like they just hand you a cup and then you go disappear. Like, they have to walk into the bathroom with you and they see all of your parts, and you have to go in front of them. And so it's I mean, especially with like Gretchen, you talk about being so young, introduced to this process. It's like, it's pretty awkward.
Yeah.
So I had this drug tester show up at my house, and there was like a bathroom downstairs, and I'm like, I don't have to go yet. And then I'm like, hey, how about we go use the bathroom upstairs? And he's like, okay. And we go upstairs, and I'm like, I gotta be honest with you, like, I kind of gotta poop. Like, I can't. I was like, I gotta go. And like, I honestly, it was one of those where like, I don't think I can pee without actually going. And like, as a guy, usually you're standing, and it's kind of an easy process. But that was the first time and only time that ever happened to me, that I'm like, and he goes, well, why don't you try standing up first? And I was like, okay. And I tried, and it didn't go. And so I was like, all right, I gotta sit down, I guess. So I like sat down, and just, what happens when you go, and I'm like, started going right there in front of this dude, just like staring at me.
Can't say I've ever done that, but
that was for sure the most awkward thing. But I didn't want that happening in the downstairs bathroom where like everybody could hear, including this like young girl he brought along. So there's that. Oh my goodness.
Now the whole world knows.
Now, yeah, well,
exactly.
What are you gonna do? That's how this thing goes. So okay, so I'm curious about just like, we talk about NCAAs a little bit, and I wonder like what you think about what might kind of help swimming take off. I just thought this was an interesting thing. When Luke and I were in Knoxville at the meet, walking around in Knoxville, and like, you can't tell that there's the best showcase of athletics in the world. until you see like NCAAs is on the sidewalk right outside the pool. But if you're walking around Knoxville, like, no, I mean, to be honest, like, no idea. And I love that town, but it's like people have no idea what's happening at that level of sport. And that would never happen in another sport. I mean, I actually was talking to David Marsh, who's my college coach now on the staff at Cal at that meet. And he's like, hey, like, there are more Olympic medals that will come out of this single meet than any other single NCAA championships. And that is amazing. And I thought you would have no idea if you were like, it's just a random person walking down the street. How do we, like, you know, kind of grow the spectacle of what's happening here so that everybody knows and sees and appreciates this? And we talked about some of this with like the big screen and the underwater camera, but I'm just curious, like, there was a DJ at NC's that was cool, but like, what do you think would kind of help the sport grow and help grow awareness for like what's happening at that level?
Yeah, that's definitely like a hard thing to think about, just because like swimming like never has been one of the like income, you know, like high income sports. I feel like we always kind of like, I don't know, feel like castaways like when it comes to like basketball and like football and stuff. I think like at least UVA, like people definitely like have a lot of pride in our swim team just because we have been doing so well recently. Like there's always like comments about they're like basketball and football like really need to step it up or something like that, you know. But to make it more popular, I definitely think like TikTok and stuff like that helps, just to like do like cool swimming clips that like go viral, and then people are like, oh wait, swimming is actually kind of like an interesting sport to watch. But it's hard to say what would really make people like diehard swimming fans if they haven't actually swum themselves. Feel like, you know, there's not really like I know like ISL was a thing, but like it wasn't like no one had like personal ties to those teams. Like I was never like, oh my gosh, like the Cali Condors, like that's, you know, like I had no ties. So I mean, like if there was like a league of some sort where people could actually like form like a relationship with the team and like have a commitment to them, to watching them, I feel like that would be like really beneficial for us. But I just like I don't want to be in charge of like making that happen, I guess. I don't know how, but like somehow people need to like, you know, like feel like a part of the team. Because like at college it's easy. But you know, swimming just like isn't like the main sport that like people will like actually go to a college for. Like I feel like football, they're like, oh my gosh, I want to go to an SEC school to watch the football games. Like they don't come to Virginia to watch the swim meets. So like I don't know. Yeah, I guess somehow like a relationship needs to like be formed between like random people and like swimming.
I think it comes down to people like you. I think people love speed and to be the fastest ever. I mean, that's why we watch track. The 100 meters a marquee event. Usain Bolt going, you know, 9.5. The 53 for women is the marquee event. It should be for speed, but it hasn't been that fast compared to the world record. I mean, Sarah went, what, 23.6? You break 24, you win a world championship. You break 24, you win an Olympic gold. I think Emma went 23.8 to win the gold. Sarah went 23.9 to win the world championship. But the world record is still 23.6. What's it going to take to get that world record? What's it going to take to get more 53 for women in the 23 range long course?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know like how long that'll take. I definitely think, you know, it's important to set like really like high goals for yourself, and like I think Todd is like really shooting for me to try to do that, which is really cool. And I'm gonna need a lot of like his own input, because the 50 free is all about the minor changes, you know, it's like very small drops. And I think like someone's just gonna have to like I don't know. I don't know what it's
You
gonna
broke
take.
the back. You broke 21 a few times. Get under the 24. What's it going to take? And for the guys, it's breaking 21, right? Getting more people
Right.
going 20 point. You go 23 mid. That's a world record. 23 high. That's a Olympic gold these days.
Yeah.
Eyes on you. No.
I mean,
Yeah.
that would be amazing. I'm gonna work for it. I don't know. A lot of it is strength, like weights. And I know a lot of people, especially in sprint events, are like older and they've already like experienced that. But like for me personally, like this is only my second year doing like heavy lifting. And I think that like at least this year I saw like huge improvements because of that, like strictly because of that. And like I'm really excited to see where like my progression in the weight room takes me. And hopefully I'll see that pay off this summer as well. So
Hey, I'm curious what you think about like I feel like the men's 50 free took a big jump, and then we're still waiting for the women's to take a big jump. And I don't mean that in any sort of negative way, but what I mean is like there was kind of the 19 barrier, and like there were some women who had gotten under 22, and then the men got into the 18s, and then the women were kind of like at 21s, and then the men like jumped to 17s, and then the women are in the 20 points. I'm curious if like how long do you think until there's somebody who goes 19?
I was actually talking about this with Todd at NCAAs, and I was like, when do you think like that would ever happen? Obviously, I think it's going to be in a relay start first, as a split, and I think that actually like isn't very far away. Like I
Yeah.
they're
would
close.
say like
Yeah.
2 years, like 3 maybe.
Sure.
I think that's like definitely the first thing. When someone goes a 19 though, I feel like there's gonna have to be like some like pretty big. I mean, I don't know. Like it's definitely like DNA advantage. Like your body. Like I clearly am made to like be a sprinter. Like I could never do long distance stuff. But like just the way like we were talking about Michael Phelps, like he was just like at a biological advantage with his like long arms and like long torso and stuff.
Right.
But it's gonna take someone like with something like that, I think. Some like crazy out of this world like advantage or something about the sport is gonna have to change, I think, because 19 seems like out of this world, but so did 20. So who knows? I don't know.
Maybe it's biological. Maybe it's just a training to be able to do something that was unheard of before. So in a long course, people didn't do a straight arm 50 free long course until 20 years ago. People didn't hold their breath for the whole 50 in the early days of the 50 free. You can't hold your breath you can't do straight arm. So maybe it's some sort of like, what do you think it is that we do that, Christ, if we did that, how fast, but you know how that's going to be? Like, I don't know. Let's think about it. It's to work hard and be able to do what you do in your 100 backstroke. You go 15 off all 4 walls. Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if they extended the 15-meter mark rule, then it would happen quicker.
I'm down.
There's also changes with the pool technology and stuff. I mean,
yeah, true.
Obviously, with like the kickback starts on obviously backstroke are more new, but that wasn't that long ago. At least didn't seem that long ago on the regular starts, which helped, I think, propel a lot of the 50 times. So
yeah,
we'll see what else happens in that world too.
Yeah. Okay, a few rapid fire questions, and we'll let you go, Gretch. What's the hardest race in swimming?
100 free. I have 200 free long course.
Olympic gold or world record?
World record. Yeah.
Do you pee in the pool?
Yes.
Who's the fastest underwater kicker in the world?
Me.
1 piece or 2 piece for training?
1 piece. Sorry.
Greatest summer league snack?
goldfish.
All day. The big tub, right?
Whatever, or extra cheddar.
Oh, extra cheddar. Okay, we got it. Favorite sporty print or style?
Well, yesterday I wore my Catalina one, which is the leopard print with the blue. So maybe that one.
If UVA did a highlight reel of the swim team training, what's a dryland or weight room exercise you would not want them to show you doing?
Oh my gosh, so many. Maybe just, oh gosh. I'm not very rapid fire with this one. I don't like being filmed when I'm in the weight room. No, like bicep curls. None of that, actually. None of that.
Well, come on. It's spring break. You're probably just getting ready for it.
No.
Okay, what type of TikTok video are you most likely to share?
Just like a funny voiceover with my friend, like me make.
Oh, you make or share, whatever.
Yeah, like I used to do dances a lot, but I like the voiceover ones where you like make a meme out of it.
All right, last one. How often do you guys do social kick?
One group does it every single day. I do it at the end of practice, actually, every day.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And we do it every day as well.
Oh, yes.
Gretchen, thanks so much for hanging out with us. It's super fun to get to chat with you.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was fun.
Right on. All right, gang. That's it for this episode of Social Kick. We'll see you next time. Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you're enjoying Social Kick, tell your friends about it. And be sure to tell us what you liked by leaving a comment. And subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Social Kick. And you can find all of our content on our website,